Hello, welcome back to the ministry. It's a quick word that the Lord gave me about Jesus in the boat. And I've never heard anybody put it this way, but the Lord gave me this recollection when I was listening to an overview of the story of Jesus being in the boat while the disciples were freaking out due to the storm. So they're in the boat. The disciples saw the storm. They're in the midst of the storm. They're watching the wind and the waves and the rain and the boats crashing left, right, sideways, and it's a mess. But I need you to understand Jesus' perspective here. Jesus was in the bottom of the boat sleeping. But I need you to think about it like this. Don't we always hear about the fact that God is not a God that sleeps nor slumbers? So if God doesn't sleep or slumber and Jesus was God in the flesh, so was he really asleep down there? I need you to think about that. Was he really asleep down there? And then I also need you to observe the fact that when you are sleeping, you enter into the realm of the spirit, which makes it more prevalent than it would be on a natural basis. Because what? You're in the spirit realm. So, if in the natural they were dealing with the storms and the this and the that, why was it that Jesus was not impacted? Because he was spiritually in a higher place than they were. I've heard ministers talk about this. I've heard people talk about this that have dealt with dreams. When you go into sleep, you enter into the spirit realm. I have heard ministers talk about they entered into a higher place. I remember one minister, she was talking about the time how the Lord put her into a deep sleep and she went into the spirit and ended up in a high place in the spirit. Jesus wasn't on that boat with them. His physical body was on that boat with them. But his spirit was in a spiritual place. This is why he was unimpacted by the fact that all that stuff was going on the boat. Why would it have not woken him up? Because his spirit wasn't with them. His spirit was in the spirit in a higher place, probably commiserating with God about some things. Because think about it. Every time they couldn't find Jesus. Where was he? Sitting on the mountain somewhere. He said, you go forth before me. I'll meet you later. Where was he when he was on that boat? He was in the presence of God. He was in a spiritually higher place than they were. This is another reason why he was unimpacted by the fact that they were freaking out. He wasn't there. He was not with them. So because of that, they were interacting with the reality that was in front of them, which was a evidence of false evidence that appeared real. But Jesus was interacting in the spirit realm where he could see any and all things from all sides. And he knew from the spirit. I remember an experience that the Lord put me through one time. I had come back from church. I was sitting in the park and I was just sitting and meditating with the Lord. I had been reading my word and I just closed my eyes and the Lord gave me a vision. And in it, I saw myself walking in reality, but I also saw Jesus above me in a spiritual state that was above where I was, that I could not see, that he was moving right next to me, that had he been on the same level that I was on, he would have been standing right next to me, but he was above me in the spirit. And I was walking blindfolded because I couldn't see what he saw, but he saw everything I could see. See what I'm saying? So what Jesus was doing, I need you to catch this. If Jesus was in the spirit realm, observed everything they were going through, but he wasn't dealing with a storm up there. He was at peace because he was with the Father. Why? Let me bring it to you from the scriptural reference of Matthew. I believe it's Matthew. It's either Matthew 6 or Matthew 7. Correct me if I'm wrong. That talks about on earth as it is in heaven. What happened when they woke him up? He brought the peace that was in the spirit back to the natural by saying what? Peace, be still. He brought the peace in the spirit down to the natural. Peace, be still. So what was happening in the kingdom of heaven, he brought back to earth, and the storm stopped. So that was my revelation. Until next time, bye-bye.